This is Evening News for Monday, September 30, 2013. I'm Samuel Suknandan. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. NIS to face more financial pressure to pay increased pensions. 2 in custody after Mambo Bar shooting. GGMC says death of Brazilian miners could have been avoided. And opposition accused of delaying budget cut case. And now for the news in detail. General Manager of the National Insurance Scheme, Doreen Nelson, today announced that the entity is bracing itself to face more financial pressure as it prepares to pay increased pensions this year, despite it is suffering a $475.2 million deficit. Leanna Bradshaw reports.
General Manager of the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, Doreen Nelson, says the organization will be faced with the strain of paying out increased pensions to persons turning 60 years old this year, even as it records a deficit. She made this disclosure during her address to the scheme's 44th Annual General Assembly. Nelson stated that all persons who joined the NIS at the age of 16 in 1969 would be entitled to increased pension, which is expected to place a significant burden on the scheme.
The pension branch, old age, invalidity, survivors, accounted for approximately 8 to 9% of these payments. There were over 43,000 pensioners on roll as at the end of August 2013, with 69% approximately receiving old age pensions and 26% approximately receiving survivors.
She explained that the scheme pays out its benefits based on contributions received during the year. However, their contributions have not been favorable for 2012, as there has been a 25% reduction in active employers, hence a decrease in contributions. Nelson said that from the period 1969 to 2012, there has been over 27,700 registered employers, but currently just some 4,500 are active contributors. In 2012, $11.8 billion was recorded as contributions and $11.7 billion in expenditure relating to benefits. She added that from the period January to August 2013, $7.754 billion in contributions was recorded and $9.120 billion in expenditure. As such, the scheme is projecting an increased $12.3 billion in expenditure by the end of 2013. However, despite its downward spiral, NIS Chairman Dr. Roger Luncheon has applauded the staff's ability to rise to the occasion to provide a continuous service to citizens.
We, associated with this organization, the National Insurance Scheme, must never lose sight of that legacy. There is so much that rides on this organization, and we who represent this organization, we who discharge all of the obligations of this organization, and we must never lose sight of that legacy.
For the Evening News, Leanna Bradshaw.
2 persons are now in police custody after masked gunmen invaded the Mambo Sports Bar located at Bar Street, Kitty, Georgetown, and opened fire on Saturday night, which resulted in the death of an Essequibo businesswoman. Bishar Mohammed has more details in this report.
Shaliza Basilal, 33 of Lot 2 Charity, Essequibo Coast, was shot at least 3 times and died before receiving medical attention. Her husband Raymond Lal, 36, was shot 5 times and was hospitalized but took self-discharge earlier today. Also injured in the attack was Parmanand Prasad, 32 of Lot 27 Block B, Monripo, East Coast, Demerara, who sustained 1 gunshot wound to his foot. The Lal's Shafour Badatunde Ned, also called Reggae of Parika East Bank, Essequibo, was shot at least 4 times and is in the intensive care unit at the Woodlands Hospital. The Evening News understands that a teenager was arrested late last evening after being found with an automatic gun. Another person was also said to be in police custody assisting with investigations. At the Woodlands Hospital on Sunday morning, a relative of Parmanand Prasad explained what she knew of the shooting.
We just got a phone call that come down to the hospital that my brother-in-law got shot, and we reach here as quickly as possible. And when we come, he was already in for the x-ray, and then we went over to the other hospital and we visit the the other one that passed, the girl that passed away, and her husband. I think it is butt, his scored, his leg. I think 2 shots in his leg.
What was he doing? What was his condition like now?
Well, actually, when we went there, he was in a wheelchair. The doctors was attending to him. You know, we couldn't get to go in to see anything much.
The relatives of the dead man and those injured are still trying to figure out the motive behind the shooting.
He is good to everybody. Yeah, he is very good to everybody. And we can't really figure out what really went wrong.
When contacted at his home for a comment, the businessman recalled that about 23 hours on the fateful night, he went to the Mambo's bar with 3 friends and were drinking. As midnight approached, a white Toyota Carina 212 motor car pulled up and 2 masked men exited and started to shoot. He added that his wife got up and was running for safety when she was shot. In a desperate attempt to save her husband's life, she jumped on top of him while he was on the ground, and the bullets caught his feet instead. After a while, police arrived at the scene and cordoned off the area. This publication understands that at least 19.9 mm spent shells were recovered. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Meanwhile, Regional Chairman of Region 2, Parmanand Prasad, has reached out to the family of Shari Basir Lal, offering condolences on behalf of the region, President Donald Ramotar, and cabinet members. Whitney Prasad has our story.
Region 2 Chairman Parmanand Prasad today visited the home of businessman Raymond Lal, also known as Big Ray, who is currently injured after receiving 5 gunshot wounds following Sunday morning's fatal shooting which left his wife Shelley Basir Lal dead. Prasad told the injured Lal to continue to keep the faith in God and hope for the best despite his loss. The regional chairman said that the incident has shocked the entire region as well as its business community. The businessman in return said he is thanking God for life even in his current condition. He admitted in tears that he still could not come to grips with his wife's death. He recalled that they were returning to the region early Sunday morning, but some friends had invited him and his wife for drinks. His wife had initially declined the invitation, but later opted to go for a short time. Around 2300 hours that evening, they arrived at the bar and were having a good time until a white car pulled up and 2 masked men came out and opened fire. Lal and his wife had been married for more than 9 years. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
A team of officials from the Ghana Geology and Mines Commission, GGMC, has been dispatched to the mining community of Iterengbang in Region 7 to investigate the death of 4 Brazilian miners after a pit collapsed on them. Details in this story.
Acting Commissioner of the GGMC, Rickford Vera, told a media conference today that the tragic incident that saw the death of 4 miners could have been avoided. The GGMC head said that a senior engineer and an occupational health and safety officer have been dispatched to the area and investigations will commence tomorrow.
What we have so far is that those persons came through Venezuela, checked in at Iterengbang, and our research in-house showed that they were not in possession of any valid work permit.
Meanwhile, Environment Minister Robert Prasad expressed his disappointment with the recent tragedy. He pointed out that the miners were visited by GGMC officials and were ordered out of the area about 3 weeks ago, which they did but subsequently returned. He noted that while the GGMC has some general oversight of mining operations, it is the village council in these areas that has full responsibility.
We are always hopeful that village councils, when granting permission, will ensure that that persons operate in a safe environment and do not undertake mining activities or use techniques that can jeopardize life and limb and even property.
4 Brazilian miners were killed and 1 injured after they were trapped in a mining pit which collapsed in the vicinity of Iterengbang in Region 7 on Thursday. The circumstances in which the men died are still unclear. Sabatini Daniels reporting for The Evening News.
The People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC, has condemned what it deemed politically instigated protests which seek to involve students and disrupt school sessions as it sent a warning to the opposition today. Whitney Prasad reports.
The People's Progressive Party Civic General Secretary Clement Rohi says that the opposition political parties have threatened the correct functioning of the educational framework at schools by involving students in unnecessary activities that do not relate to them in any way. During the party's press conference today, Rohi said that these opposition-led protests involving the blocking of school gates and entrances prevents students from entering the school compound and not being able to attend classes.
The PPP stands in solidarity with and is supportive of the Ministry of Education's position in declaring zero tolerance for all political protests at schools that seek to involve students. Our party would be the first to recognize the right to protest anywhere in this country, a right we fought for and we have seen utilized every day in our society. However, we must be able to draw the boundary lines.
Rohi accused politicians of using students for their own selfish gains, as he said that the APNU in particular appears non-supportive or interested in the educational development of the nation's youth.
The leader of the opposition truly has no shame and must take full responsibility for introducing the PNC-APNU culture of protest into our schools.
Rohi reflected on all of the attempts made previously by the opposition to jeopardize the reopening of schools this year.
In this report, we hear that Attorney General Anil Nandlall is accusing the main opposition party of stalling the budget cuts case by the dilatory tactics they have employed. Details in this story. Speaking with media operatives, Attorney General Anil Nandlall called the opposition's request for an adjournment a dilatory time-wasting strategy. During the proceedings, Attorney Basil Williams, who is representing opposition leader David Granger, requested an adjournment since the other attorneys who are part of his team are out of the jurisdiction. But Legal Affairs Minister and Attorney General Anil Nandlall argued in court that no proper reasons were proffered by the appellant's attorney for the adjournment to be granted.
You saw another reason, another example rather, of that dilatory exercise being played out today. The reason advanced were all spurious, that other lawyers who are involved in the matter are overseas. The record is there. Mr. Williams has been the only lawyer appearing in this aspect of the case. Mr. Williams' name is the only name that appears on the notice of appeal. The argument, therefore, that there are several lawyers who are appearing in this matter is not supported by the record.
Nandlall disclosed that Williams is the only attorney listed on the appeal and notice of appeal that was filed. However, Justice Drakes pointed out that other attorneys can still be added to the panel even after a matter is filed. Meanwhile, Williams maintained that the matter is being rushed as he expressed surprise as to the speed with which it was heard. Justice Drakes then informed the attorney that they were just given the assignment and he do not want this matter entangled with politics. However, Nandlall pointed out that being the appellant, Williams should be happy that his grievances are being ventilated quickly.
He has filed the appeal. He has fixed the records. He has, under the rules of court, he has to prepare the records. He has done so, and the case is being heard. I don't understand why is there, you hear a constant complaint all the time that the judiciary is working too slowly and there is too much backlog in the system and the sloth of the judiciary results in injustice. Now you have an instance where the judiciary is moving with some degree of dispatch and you get the reverse complaint now from the lawyers that the judiciary is working too fast.
Justice Rishi Prasad and Justice James Bubble Drakes are presiding over the case in the full court of the High Court. The case has been adjourned for October 22 for commencement of arguments. However, both parties were given up to October 11 to lay over their submissions. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. Join us after these messages for more of the Evening News. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. During the observance of Caribbean Week of Agriculture from October 4 to 12, a number of memorandums of understanding will be signed which will be boosted of the agriculture sector. Sabatini Daniels has the details.
One of the major MOUs to be signed during the Caribbean Week of Agriculture is an agreement with the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture ICA and the European Union EU. The agreement will see Guyana benefiting from an €11 million grant which was given to ICA to implement a capacity strengthening program in the Caribbean region relating to sanitary and phytosanitary standards. Speaking at a press conference on Caribbean Week of Agriculture, Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy underscored the importance of the Economic Partnership Agreement between Guyana and Europe, which he said encompasses support to build these standards.
Each country will, in the project, develop their own needs and so on. You can be sure that me, as the representative pushing Guyana's program, is never always happy with just building human resource capacity. When I talk about capacity, I'm talking about what will the human resource do. If they need to do testing and we train them to do the test, but they don't have the equipment, we're at square one. And so I'm talking about building laboratories.
Another major event during the week is an agriculture exhibition which starts on Wednesday and ends on Friday. The theme for Caribbean Week of Agriculture is linking the Caribbean for regional food and nutrition security and rural development. Sabatini Daniels reporting for the Evening News.
Exhibitors at GAIExpo 2013 as well as the general public will be afforded the opportunity to attend a two-day economic forum on Thursday and Friday, where they will be prepared on how to successfully carry out business with other countries. Sabatini Daniels reports.
Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association GMSA President Clinton Williams said this year's business forum will deal with issues such as clean energy, the new U.S. Foods Modernization Act, and opportunities through Brazil. Speaking at a tour of the GAIExpo site today, he noted that the forum is important since it aids with development for exhibitors.
Whether it's new business opportunities, whether it's new markets, whether it's more trade, whether it's more joint ventures. And so these are aspects of the exhibition this year that we intend to measure and compare to the previous year so we can get what we're looking for in respect of the motto this year.
This year's sessions will be held on Thursday at the International Convention Center and Friday at Regency Suites. Guyana Tourism Authority Director Indranaut Harold Singh disclosed that the forum is expanded due to feedback from exhibitors requesting training. GMSA is spearheading the project, which is free of cost and also open to the public. GAIExpo 2013 will be held from October 3 to 6 at the Sophia Exhibition Center under the theme Advancing Productivity Through Innovation, Modernization and Expansion.
As the University of Guyana prepares to celebrate 50 years of existence, the People's Progressive Party Civic, which is one of the main and founding parties of the educational institution, reassured students of its commitment to their enhancement. Whitney Prasad has more.
The People's Progressive Party Civic has congratulated the University of Guyana on its 50th anniversary, as it noted the challenges and accomplishments made by the institution over the past several decades.
Despite opposition criticisms, Dr. Jagan remained focused and relentless in his desire to establish a university which is today the pride of the Guyanese people. It will be recalled that the university was dubbed, quote-unquote, Jagan's Night School by detractors due to the fact that many classes were held in the evenings to accommodate working students.
Rohi said it is laudable that the university continues to advance students in the areas of technical and managerial studies, preparing them for the world of work and regional job employment.
More recently, the university has also trained medical doctors and lawyers, an indication of the extent to which the university has advanced over the years. The University of Guyana is testimony to the visionary leadership of the PPP, which continues to come with transformative projects along the lines of the university.
The party said it will continue to support the institution as it strives to create more jobs to meet the demand being created by the increasing number of graduates completing their studies. The PPPC has used the occasion of UG's 50th anniversary to reflect on the state of affairs of the institution under the governance of the PNCR regime, noting that it was virtually starved of resources. It also reminded Guyanese that the former president, Dr. Cheddi Jagan, was the brainchild of the facility, which initially was housed at the Queen's College when it was first opened. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
Meanwhile, in observance of the University of Ghana's 50th anniversary, the People's National Congress Reform (PNCR) congratulated the staff of the premier institution of higher learning. This year, celebrations are being observed by UG under the theme Honoring the Past, Molding the Present and Transforming the Future. The party again urged government to increase the subvention for the university to adopt an education-first policy as it reaffirmed its commitment to UG's development. The party called for improvement in libraries, laboratories, lecture theaters, and further stated that in order for the university to aid in molding and transforming the future, there is need for more investments in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. More of the evening news after these messages. Welcome back, you're watching the evening news. With just a week to go before the hosting of the Miss Guyana Universe Pageant 2013, the 8 delegates were sashed on Saturday evening at a simple ceremony at the Pegasus Hotel. Bisham Mohammed has the details.
Before an elite audience comprising fashion icons, past beauty queens, franchise holder and sponsors among others, the Miss Guyana Universe delegates were sashed by their respective sponsors. Delegate number 1, Carly Chappelle, is sponsored by Nabi Construction, while delegate number 2, Kenwa Chowie, is sponsored by Music Club out of Canada. Delegate number 3, Tiffany Newenkirk, is sponsored by Canadian Jason Squartz, while delegate number 4, Cheyenne Hoppy, is sponsored by Shilinsky and Company. Rainbow Fashions is a spout sponsor of delegate number 5, Ayana Whitehead, while Red Earth Crystal Water is sponsoring delegate number 6, Carla Brown. Meanwhile, delegate number 7, Katrina Roshana, is sponsored by the New Guyana Pharmaceutical Corporation on its Limacol brand, and delegate number 8, Alicia Bess, is taken care by AU Drill Incorporated. The evening news grabbed the Miss Limacol, Katrina Roshana, for a quick interview.
It's such a great honor. I feel so privileged to be a representative, and I'm looking forward to giving them the best. We have gym every morning at 6 o'clock. We have to train for up to 1 to 2 hours. So it's hectic, but we're doing great. We're having fun.
However, marketing manager of the New Guyana Pharmaceutical Corporation, Trevor Basu, expresses excitement to be a part of the event.
We're happy, we're privileged. It's not the first time we've been sponsoring a delegate for the Miss Guyana Universe pageant. As I can recall, we have done it more than 1 time before this. And we've actually been associated with very well-representative candidates or delegates.
Now, I know the last pageant that you sponsored, that was Miss Guyana India Worldwide Pageant, where the representative, Miss Alana Sibaran, would have came out victorious. Now, what are your expectations this year with Miss Katrina Roshana?
Well, as you can judge from the last event, we're well associated with winners, and we have high hopes and confidence in Miss Roshan. We strongly believe that she will come out victorious on this competition and represent Guyana and Limacol internationally.
The Miss Guyana Universe Intelligence segment will be held on Wednesday evening and will be broadcast live on NCN at 20 hours. The final is set for Sunday, October 6 at the Pegasus poolside. VIP tickets cost $6,000 and general admission is $3,000. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
21-year-old Miss Region 5, Annalisa Andrews of Maracaibo, was crowned Miss Amerindian Heritage 2013 after 6 hours of exhilarating competition. Bisham Mohammed was at the National Cultural Center and filed this report.
And the first runner-up is Miss Letitia Daniel. Congratulations, Miss Annalisa Andrews.
That was the reaction of Miss Region 5, Annalisa Andrews, when she was announced to Miss Amerindian Heritage 2013 close to 2 hours on Sunday morning. Andrews, an aspiring accountant, sealed the deal when she was asked the question, quote, "The theme for Amerindian Heritage Month is honoring our culture, advancing our future. What does this mean to you?" End of quote.
Honoring our culture means to me that I should be proud of my tradition, my culture, my history, my ancestors, and even though that changes are occurring every day in our lives, example technology, I shouldn't forget where I came from and always preserve my culture, but at the same time, advance the future, meaning take my education seriously and move forward in life. Thank you.
Immediately after the crowning, the Moroccobai beauty expressed her excitement, noting that nothing comes without hard work.
I worked very hard for this, and at the end it paid off very well. And I'm blessed. I'm actually blessed to have this title. The
beauty believes that youths have an integral role to play in the development of their respective communities. Hence, she chose youth leadership in Amerindian communities as her platform.
I was praying to God that I win this round so I can get a start to do my public speaking that I always wanted to do. I'm part of a youth group that one of the objectives is that we help to educate youth, support them. I'll use that organization that I am part to develop youth leadership in my communities.
Coming in as first runner-up was Miss Region 3 Latita Daniels, 19 of Santa Aratak, while the second runner-up spot was captured by Miss Region 7, Glary Williams, 21 of Batavia. Copying the third runner-up spot was Miss Region 6, Chevon Hyderkhan, 19 of Siparuta, and rounding off the top 5 was Miss Region 8, Viola Aaron, 19 of Paramakatoy. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Join us after these messages for your Evening News Sportscast, sponsored by Macro. Welcome back, and now for a look at sport. In your headlines, Demerara and Berbice play to exit in tie in Pepsi Inter-County Final. Pee-wee Schools football off to a successful start, and Robin Persaud cops Leparkin cycling title. Defending champions Demerara and Berbice played to a pulsating tie in the Pepsi Inter-County 50-over final at the Albion Community Centre ground on Sunday. By virtue of the tie, the teams were declared joint winners and will share the 100,000 first prize. Set a revised target of 151 for victory, Demerara finished on 150 for 9 when the innings came to a close. Earlier, Berbice made 131 for 3 in 20 overs, requiring 13 of the last over. Demerara's last pair of Paul Wintz and Andre Stoll scored 10 runs off the first 5 balls. Needing 3 runs for victory, Stoll drove Peacer Keon Joseph to a long on-boundary, but a fumble by Jonathan Fu allowed the batsman a second run that resulted in the tie scored. Opener Andrew DeAndre top scored for Berbice with a 46-ball 39. Whilst Siunarai Chattergoon made 36. Jonathan Fu contributed 23 to the team's total. In the run chase, Stephen Jacobs' top scored was 33. Devendra Bishu, who was later adjudged man of the match, was the best bowler on show with figures of 4 for 32 of his 4 overs. The Courts Pee-wee Schools football tournament kicked off with a grand opening ceremony, march past, and some exciting group games with the future stars of the sport. Tristan Joseph reports.
The Marquee Pee-wee football tournament opened on Saturday with organizers and sponsors urging the players to enjoy the tournament. With a number of primary schools turning out for the 10:30 hour start at the Thirst Park ground, Petro co-director Marlon Cole emphasized why the tournament is such an important feature on the football calendar.
We know some persons are thinking about winning, and that is all right. But we at the Petro organization, our main focus is to bring you guys together, the parents, the teachers, and the students, to have fun this morning. We know that at the end of the tournament, there will be only one winner, but we're sure that at the end of the tournament, these students would have camaraderie amongst each other.
Courts marketing manager Pernell Cummins also shared his enthusiasm about the 2013 edition of the tournament.
I'm happy that the tournament has increased the amount of teams taking part this year, and
I hope it continues to grow. I also would like to urge all students, coaches, teachers, parents that this is just a game, and there will be a winner, there will be losers. But I ask that you make sure that the sport is played in the best atmosphere.
Meanwhile, matches in the various groups got underway with defending champions Marion Academy losing to Eastleigh Penitents 1-2 goals. Matches will continue every Saturday until the tournament concludes in November.
National cyclist Robin Prasad on Saturday underlined his dominance over his rivals with another scintillating performance in the feature 35-lap race of the 9th annual Leparkin 11 race cycling program at the inner circuit of the National Park. Prasad destroyed his rivals to win the race in 1 hour 18 minutes 16 seconds. He crossed the line ahead of Alonzo Greaves. Godfrey Polidor was third, followed by Junior Niles, Paul Chewingham and Raymond Newton to close out the top 6. Polidor claimed 3 of the 8 sprint prime games, with Newton picking up 2 and 1 each for Greaves, Chewingham and Prasad. Junior Niles took the winner's trophy in the Veterans Under 50 race, while Lyndon Blackman finished first in the Veterans Over 50. The Veterans Over 60 category was won by Maurice, and other winners were Jamal John, Stefan Wilkinson, Romalo Crawford, Sherwin Sampson, Richard Charles and Jamal Eastman. Remember, you can read about these and other stories in tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times newspaper, which can be picked up from vendors across the country. When you're not reading our newspaper or watching TVG Channel 28, do tune in to Radio Ghana Inc. on 89.3, 89.5 or 89.7 FM. Your Bridge Reports are next. Welcome back, and now for a look at your bridge reports. The Demo Harbour Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, October 1 at 14 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, October 1 at 14 hours 20 for a period of 1.5 hours. That's your Monday, September 30, 2013 edition of the Evening News. I'm Samuel Suknandon. Thanks for joining us.